accounted at that point for 18% of global GDP. The UK, which was the previous government, still very powerful up to the First World War, accounted for about 9% of global GDP. So you can see that China, because of its size, will be far more representative in many ways of the world than the United States, the present hegemon, and the UK was before that. And I think that is quite significant. The third point is about governance and China's governance. Now, for a long time, China was rather heavily subject to very heavy criticism in the West, still is actually, for its governance system. The argument about governance for a long time has been essentially you have to have a Western-style democratic system with universal suffrage and a multi-party system to be democratic. And the emphasis of the argument about governance was not about the quality of governance, but how the government was selected. Now, in the recent past, I don't know how long, last 5 years, the argument has begun to shift. The argument is no longer simply about the mode of selection or the mode of election, but it is about competence. How competent is your government? So, for example, India and China are often in the West compared unfavorably or to China's detriment, because India celebrates the great democracy and China is regarded as undemocratic. The problem for this argument is that India, it's true, has a remarkable democracy, but it always elects essentially incompetent governments. So we cannot really fit for purpose. So the result of all this is a mess, whereas China may not have a Western-style democracy, but no one can argue that the Chinese state, the Chinese government, is not remarkably competent. I mean, I think it's the most competent state in the world, even though it's only a developing country. And this argument about the nature of Chinese governance and the quality of Chinese governance has become more and more important. Fourthly, and that has a significance, I should add to that it has a significance because China is being so, think of it like this. Governance is not just the governance of a nation state. Increasingly, there are the multilateral institutions, and what is the quality of governance in that? So take the European Union. The European Union, individual nation states have Western-style democracy, but the European Union doesn't have that. So the European Union, which is sometimes one of the objections to it, the European Union is a more bureaucratic institution, if you like. Now, China is not simply a country, it's also a continent. In fact, to put it in another way, it's like a sub-global system. It represents a large slice of the global economy and humanity. And so China